In a war-torn universe, Captain Jacob Hayes rescues the alien ambassador Ilara from oppression, forging an unexpected bond. As their worlds collide amid fragile alliances, they face choices that could alter their fate. Will their love conquer the chaos, or will ethical dilemmas tear them apart? In a battle for survival, what price will they pay for peace? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content, but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. Aboard the Providence Asterisk, the hum of the engines felt like a heartbeat, a rhythmic pulse that resonated through the metallic bones of the starship. Each vibration whispered echoes of battles fought and lives irrevocably changed. Captain Jacob Hayes stood on the observation deck, gazing out into the infinite void, a swirling tapestry of stars and shadows. Memories of his family danced in his mind, the warm laughter of his sister, the gentle embrace of his mother, the fierce pride in his father's eyes. They were reminders of the life he vowed to protect amidst the chaos of a war-torn universe. His rugged visage, marked by time and strife, spoke of a man who had borne the weight of command and a rugged charm that had earned him the loyalty of his crew. There was a flickering determination in his sapphire eyes, reflecting both the fatigue of endless conflict and the unwavering resolve to fight for a future worth living. "Commander Hayes," crackled the voice of the ship's captain, Iran, sparking Jacob from his reverie. "Get to the bridge. We have a distress signal coming in." Adrenaline surged through Jacob's veins, a familiar fusion of anxiety and duty. Clenching his fists, he sprinted through the metallic corridors, the sound of his boots echoing like distant thunder. What danger awaited them now? With each step, visions of destruction littered his mind, intertwining with the urgency of the present. As he entered the bridge, a tense atmosphere greeted him, questions buzzing like angry wasps. "What do we have, Captain?" Jacob demanded, scanning the worried expressions of the crew. Iran's focus remained fixed on the flickering screen ahead, his brow furrowed in concern. "A ship in distress. Origins unknown. It's the Cirrus 9X, believed to have been attacked by the Atron Coalition." Jacob's heart sank at the mention of the coalition, known for their ruthless tactics and merciless nature. "We need to act quickly," he realized, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily upon his shoulders. "I'll take my team and investigate," Jacob said with a steely resolve, quelling the rising anxiety within him. He felt the familiar pulse of determination as he prepared to board the small reconnaissance vessel, the Aquila. The shuttle was sleek, designed for speed and agility, glinting under the harsh lights of the hangar bay. Yet, deep in his gut, he couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would change everything. As he moved, the crew bustled around him with a practiced urgency, gathering gear and preparing for the unknown. Each crew member bore their own stories, their backgrounds woven together through shared adversity. There was Lieutenant Jenna Kai, a sharpshooter with eyes like emerald fire, whose fierce loyalty was rivaled only by her prowess in combat, and Engineer Lucas Roy, a tech whiz with tousled dark hair and an endearing clumsiness that made him the heart of the team despite his technical brilliance. With his team assembled, Jacob launched the Aquila into the star-laden sea. The engine roared to life, and the vessel shot forward, propelled by adrenaline and the weight of their impending mission. As they hurtled through the cosmic expanse, the gravity of the situation settled ominously in the air. Minutes later, they emerged near the wreckage of the Ceres times. The sight was harrowing. Twisted metal and debris drifted like scattered bones in the void of space. As the Providence drifted closer to the wreckage of the Ceres the Ninth, a semblance of silence hung over the crew, punctuated only by the low hum of the ship's engines. The view outside the observation window was a grim mosaic of debris and twisted metal, evidence of the brutal conflict that had unfolded. A catastrophic ballet of violence that painted the once mighty ship in shades of despair. Captain Jacob Hayes stood at the viewport, his brow furrowed in concentration as his heart wrestled with a mixture of dread and resolve. "Bring her aboard," he commanded urgently, the words tumbling from his lips as he spotted a flicker of movement among the wreckage. It was just a shadow, at first indistinct, against the jagged remnants of the hull. But it morphed into something truly alive as they approached. Jacob's crew sprang into action, powered by the primal instinct to save. They maneuvered the ship closer, careful not to disturb the floating shards of metal that could spell disaster if accidentally breached. The ship's small docking bay opened, revealing a scene of utter chaos, and they prepared a recovery harness, gripping it tightly as they scanned the area for any sign of life. This was not merely a mission, it was a race against time. As they gingerly extracted the fragile figure from the wreckage, Jacob's mind raced with thoughts of what or who they might be welcoming on board. As the medics laid the alien figure on a gurney, Jacob was struck by the vibrancy of her skin, an ethereal glow that seemed to pulse softly, casting light in the otherwise sterile medbay. "Identify the species," he commanded, his eyes never leaving her form. It felt surreal to think that they humans, survivors of Earth, might be harboring an alien in their midst. "It's hard to tell, sir, but I'm detecting biological markers consistent with known sentient life forms from sectors 10 through 15, one of the crew members replied, her voice tinged with awe. Ilara stirred, her brows knitting together as her luminous eyes cracked open. The brightness of the room seemed overwhelming, and she winced, attempting to piece together her thoughts. "Who are you?" she rasped, her voice trembling yet potent, echoing the weight of her ordeal. "Captain Jacob Hayes, of the Providence," he replied softly, stepping closer, hoping to project comfort despite the chaotic backdrop of their world. "We're here to help you." Her gaze locked onto his with a ferocity that nearly knocked the breath from him. "You don't understand," she whispered, fear clawing at her voice. "The Atron Coalition will come for me. They slaughtered my people, if they find me here." Pain twisted within Jacob's gut as the gravity of her words landed like a meteorite on his conscience. He gestured to the medics to start their work, the sharp smell of antiseptic filling the air as they monitored her vitals. The desire to protect surged through him. "You're safe now. We will not let them take you." As he spoke, a fragment of her panic receded, replaced by a glimmer of something far deeper. A flicker of hope shattered by the cruel claws of war. "Promise me," she implored, her voice dropping to a whisper, "that you will fight for my people. Without your help, we cannot survive." Quote. In that moment, their fates intertwined, a connection blossoming amidst the decay surrounding them. The lines of species, realms, and destinies blurred in the vast tapestry of the universe. Jacob nodded solemnly, resolute in his conviction. "I promise you, Ilara, we will fight to protect your world." The hours bled into days, as Ilara began to recover aboard the Providence, her luminous skin regaining strength as she adapted to their environment. Her presence transformed the ship. Her culture breathed a sense of life into the cold metal confines. Jacob found himself drawn not only to her strength and resilience, but to the way she viewed the universe, through a lens of empathy and understanding that made him question his own often harsh worldview. As she shared stories of her people, tales steeped in rich traditions, music that echoed in the stars, and fierce tales of ancestry, Jacob listened intently. Each revelation chipped away at the walls he had built around himself since the war began. He started to see in her eyes the reflection of a past he had lost, of loved ones he would do anything to protect. "Do you believe peace is possible?" she asked one evening as they stood at the observation deck, gazing into the endless expanse of space. The stars twinkled like scattered diamonds, the promise of a future waiting to be forged. Jacob hesitated, his heart a tumultuous storm of hope and despair. "I want to believe," he finally admitted, the weight of his admission heavy in the air. "But the road ahead is fraught with danger. The Coalition won't stop until they reclaim you. And they won't hesitate to destroy everything in their path." "I would rather die fighting for my people than live in chains," she replied, her voice firm, filled with a fire that ignited the atmosphere around them. Her conviction resonated with Jacob, and he felt a fierce determination take root within him. They began to forge an alliance, formulating strategies based on her knowledge of the Coalition's tactics and his own expertise in battlefield strategy. Together they discussed ways to incite rebellion among her people, to unite factions scattered across the galaxy who had suffered under the Coalition's tyranny. Yet even as their bonds blossomed amidst the chaos, Jacob couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. News from their reconnaissance missions only reinforced his fears. The Atron Coalition was aware of Ilara's survival, their forces gathering like a storm, eager to unleash havoc. On the day they were set to reveal their newfound alliance to the crew, Jacob felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He led Ilara to the central command room, where his crew congregated in a semicircle, faces expectant. "Everyone," he began, his voice steady despite the turbulence coiling within him. "We have an opportunity here, a chance to turn the tide of this war. Meet Ilara, the last surviving ambassador of her people, Relfora." He watched as intrigue swept through the room. Ilara stood with a quiet confidence, her features sharp as she faced the crew, glowing vibrantly in the harsh light. But what should have been a memorable moment quickly soured when one of his officers, a seasoned, battle-hardened woman named Evanora, stepped forward with a rigid demeanor. "What guarantees do we have that this isn't a trap, Captain?" Evanora challenged, her gaze severe. "She could be leading us straight into the jaws of the coalition. We have lost too many already to risk everything." Jacob flinched at the doubt, but knew Evanora's candor stemmed from a place of loyalty to their cause. Days passed aboard the Providence as Jacob and Ilara worked tirelessly together. The hum of the ship resonated with an undercurrent of urgency, echoes of war and conflict, underscoring every decision they made. Jacob found himself swept up in the depth of Ilara's knowledge, her insight into her people's culture shaping their strategies in unexpected ways. Her intelligence shone through, illuminating paths they had yet to consider. The war room was a labyrinth of holographic projections, displaying tactical maps of the galaxy. Clad in her flowing uniform, which had been tailored to accommodate her radiant skin and otherworldly features, Ilara commanded attention. Her eyes flickered with determination as she discussed the Atron Coalition's movements, her fingers dancing through holographic data. "They underestimate our capacity for stealth," she proposed. "If we can infiltrate their communications, we can mislead them, turning their own strengths against them." Jacob nodded, captivated by her resolve. "And we can intercept their supply line, cut off their resources before they even know what hit them." The energy in the room hummed with possibility, each idea sparking the imagination of the crew around them. Leasia, the crew's navigator, leaned forward, her fingers gripping the edge of the console. "If we can coordinate these maneuvers with other factions, we can amplify our chances. A united front. If we reach out to the Chronaxians and the Drell." A grim expression crossed Jacob's face. "They've been slow to respond to pleas for alliance in the past, viewing us as minor players in this intergalactic theater." "Whoa. But this is different," Ilara interjected, her voice unwavering. "We can't afford to let fear guide our actions. We must forge alliances, even with those who have turned their backs on us in the past." The discussions continued as the hours slipped by, transforming into late nights filled with strategy and resilience. In the small, dimly lit quarters that Jacob called his own, he stole moments to reflect. Memories of his family, far away on Earth, flickered like distant stars. Amid their conversations about alliances and survival, he often found his thoughts drifting back to a simple desire: the hope for a peaceful existence. As the days turned into weeks, their dynamic shifted. Trust blossomed between Jacob and Ilara, infused with shared laughter amidst the chaos. They found comfort in one another, realizing potential in the differences that had once seemed insurmountable. During brief breaks, they exchanged stories of their homelands. Jacob shared tales of Earth's lush landscapes, while Ilara painted images of shimmering oceans on Cerinthia, the views illuminated by two radiant suns. One evening, as the stars flickered like diamonds outside the observation deck, Jacob turned to Ilara. "What do you miss most about home, Rora?" Her gaze drifted somewhere beyond the glass, lost in fond memories. "The songs of my people, each note carrying the essence of our history, emotions weaving through the melodies." "Would you sing one for me?" he asked, half in jest, yet fully hopeful she would. A soft smile graced her lips, a rare sense of calm settling upon her. "Perhaps when the time is right." Yet beneath the moments of levity, shadows lurked. The looming threat of the coalition shadowed their progress, its presence a constant reminder of the stakes they faced. Rumors began to swirl about the Atron, a chilling darkness creeping closer as their enemies fortified their bases. The tension reached a boiling point one day when an alert echoed through the ship. The coalition was approaching an unsuspecting transport fleet. "Prepare the ship for action," Jacob commanded, his hands gripping the console tighter as he felt the familiar rush of adrenaline course through him. The crew sprang into action, panic mingling with their steady determination. Ilara stood by his side, a fire burning in her eyes. "We must act quickly. If we can protect the Federation fleets, it will earn us their trust." "Oh." Jacob inhaled deeply, the weight of decisions heavy upon him. "We'll ambush them, but we'll need to maintain our stealth." Ilara nodded in agreement, the collaborative energy of their mission galvanizing the crew. As the Providence moved into position, the tension became palpable. Jacob's heart raced as they drifted through the shadows of a nearby asteroid field, invisible to the enemy's watchful eyes. Despite the danger, Ilara's calm presence beside him served to steady his resolve. Suddenly, the dimly lit sensors blared. The coalition ships were detected. Jacob's resolve turned steely. "Weapons ready! Prepare for evasive maneuvers!" The scene erupted into a flurry of activity. The ships shook with the force of battle, alarms blaring as Jacob barked commands. The view outside transformed into a chaotic ballet of light, the brutal firepower of the Atron coalition leaping into the void. "Engaging now!" screamed Iran, one of the crew members, as he worked the controls, his fingers moving deftly. Ilara gripped Jacob's arm, urgency in her eyes. "We have to disable their lead ship, cut off their command structure." Jacob felt the heat of her intent propelling him forward. On it! He focused on the data flooding in and aligned the ship's targeting system. "Firing on my mark!" He counted down, and with a single breath he shouted, "Now!" The fabric of space shattered with the release of energy, illuminating the dark void as their shot struck true. The coalition ship disrupted. Chaos erupted as the remaining vessels halted for a split second. A moment of confusion that they seized. "What's the status?" Jacob demanded, eyes darting to Ilara as she analyzed the readings. "By disabling their command ship, we've thrown them into disarray. Now is our chance," she urged. With a fierce resolve, Jacob adjusted their strategy, igniting a fire in his soul. "We need to leverage their hesitation. We'll toy with them, turn their own strategies upside down." That moment of resolve ignited an undeniable synergy between them, shadows of doubt beginning to dissipate. Together, they mirrored one another's thoughts, weaving their ideas into a cohesive plan of attack. In a flurry of tactical genius, they carefully maneuvered through the battlefield. Elusive and evasive like wraiths against the onslaught of darkness, the Providence became an instrument of fate rather than a pawn in this cosmic game. "You see, Jacob," Ilara smiled as they executed a flawless maneuver, "together we can shift the tides of fate." Whoa. But as the battle raged on, moments of clarity began to taunt their thoughts. With each allies they saved, Jacob felt the faint tremor of shadows stretching behind them. Creeping whispers that traced closer to the truth, dark suggestions of betrayal lurking like predators in the fringes. As the last vestiges of the coalition fleet dissolved into shadow, their victory was momentous yet unsettling. The vastness of space enveloped the Providence like an infinite shroud, dark and oppressive. Captain Jacob Hayes stood resolute in the command center, a cluster of holographic displays illuminating his tense features. The soft hum of the ship's systems was a familiar balm amid the turmoil raging within him. He felt the weight of the cosmos pressing down, every decision, something that could alter not just the fate of his crew, but the destiny of countless worlds. Having gathered vital intelligence on the Atron Coalition's stronghold, a sense of urgency coiled tightly around the captain like a spring, ready to snap. "Prepare for war," he commanded his crew, his voice steady despite the storm within. Each soldier that flanked him was a reflection of his own fears and aspirations, and they looked to him with a blend of admiration and trepidation. He knew their lives hinged on his next moves. Ilara, the alien ambassador with skin the color of the brightest stars, stood beside him, a beacon of fierce determination. They had forged a bond stronger than mere alliance, a connection nurtured amidst mutual respect and shared dreams of peace. Yet as they prepared to confront the coalition, Jacob couldn't shake the gnawing sensation that their trust in each other could be their downfall. "Captain," Ilara interrupted his thoughts, a flicker of urgency dancing in her luminous eyes. "We must make haste. My people are counting on us." "Patience, Ilara," he replied, keeping his tone measured. "We need a solid plan before launching into the lion's den. The coalition won't hesitate to exploit any weaknesses." The tension in the air thickened as they reviewed their strategies. Information flowed up from the intelligence team about the coalition's movements, their growing might fueled by a zeal too volatile for his comfort. Jacob's strategic mind raced through possibilities, yet the very ground felt unsolid. Could their bond withstand the overwhelming weight of war? Moments turned to hours as they flew toward the coalition's stronghold, a colossal battle station looming ahead, a grotesque reflection of power, adorned with banners swirling in Atron colors. Jacob inhaled deeply, the metallic taste of fear catching in his throat. "Captain," said Commander Roy, his first officer, glancing at the tactical display, "we're picking up enemy signals, shadows on the outer rim. They know we're here." "Time to move," Jacob replied with a steel resolve. The crew scrambled to their stations, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Jacob felt a familiar surge of responsibility flutter in his chest as he took his seat at the command helm. Ilara's presence beside him was a fire of strength, though he could sense the storm brewing behind her composed facade. "We must act quickly, before they fortify their defenses," she urged, gripping the edge of the console, her knuckles turning white. Jacob nodded, meeting her anxious gaze. "We strike hard, we strike fast." But the words felt hollow, a mantra battling against the gnawing uncertainty in his gut. The stars glittered through the viewport, but they offered no solace. Only a brutal reminder of the lives that hung in the balance. The first wave of enemy vessels ripped through the void, breaking their formation like a hammer smashing glass, erupting in chaos. Alarms blared throughout the Providence, red lights flashing in frantic urgency. "Evasive maneuvers! Deploy energy shields now!" Jacob yelled, his voice slicing through the overwhelming din. The ship jolted violently as enemy fire raked along the hull, the impact reverberating through every deck. Crew members hollered commands, scrambling to manage the escalating crisis. Amidst the chaos, Jacob's attention was drawn to Ilara, whose eyes were set ablaze with determination as she coordinated their defenses, a commander among soldiers. "Redirect energy from non-essential systems to the shields," she commanded, her voice unwavering. "We can't afford to lose any more power." Jacob marveled at her tenacity. Her brilliance illuminated the darkened corners of their precarious mission. They pushed through the tumultuous barrage, weaving the ship through the onslaught of enemy fire, all the while sharing glances laden with unspoken fears. Each conflict merely deepened their resolve. They fought not just for themselves, but against an oppressive fate. Yet in the heat of battle, a whispered thought echoed through Jacob's mind, a question of allegiance. Was he placing too much faith in this alliance while steering their ship towards certain danger? The nagging doubt made his throat dry. Raking through the escalating chaos, the Providence charged forward, spreading its wings through the hostile realm where shadows danced, inching closer to the coalition's defenses. "Status report," Jacob barked. "Shields down to 50%. Roy relayed. Urgency splashed across his face. "They are regrouping for another attack. We can't hold them off forever." "I need a full assessment of our capabilities," Jacob retorted, heart pounding in unison with the ship's thrumming engines. Ilara stepped closer, her presence a cool anchor in the swirling storm. "We can't solely rely on brute strength. I have a proposal." Jacob tilted his head, curiosity piqued. "What did you have in mind?" A flicker of energy ignited her eyes. "The Solari. They are an ancient race powerful beyond measure. I can reach out to them." "Ilara, are you sure that's wise?" Jacob interrupted, remembering the tales of the Solari's enigmatic nature, their unpredictable intervention in cosmic affairs. "They possess capabilities we can't fully comprehend." "But we're running out of options." She leaned closer, her voice a fervent whisper. "They could shift the balance in our favor. I have to take the chance to save my people." The weight of her words struck a chord deep within him. Trust mingled with trepidation as a decision loomed before him. Could he gamble on such an unpredictable ally? Yet, as he looked into her eyes, those vibrant pools reflecting hope and despair, he understood her desperate urge. It mirrored the burning resolve that resided within him. "Very well," Jacob conceded, a sense of resignation mingling with his resolve. "But we do this carefully. I won't risk everything without knowing the consequences." Ilara nodded, a flicker of gratitude brightening her features. The moment felt surreal. They were teetering on the brink of something vast, yet so dangerously uncertain. "Open a communication channel with the Solari," she commanded, her voice steady. "Let them know we require their aid." With a deep breath, Jacob initiated the holographic communication, the interface igniting before them. A celestial tapestry of intertwining energies pulsing with a life force transcending the known. They waited, the seconds stretching into eternity. Back suddenly a voice emerged from the void, ethereal and melodic. "Who dares summon the Solari?" Jacob's heart raced, the weight of ancient power thrummed through the air. With the awakening of the Solari, a heavy weight hung over the crew of the Asterisk Providence. The majestic silhouettes of the Solari vessels, glowing with ethereal light against the dark canvas of space, filled the viewports. Their presence shifted the atmosphere onboard. An edge of tension now colored every interaction. Jacob's thoughts spiraled into chaos. What had they unleashed upon an already fractured galaxy? "Ilara," Jacob began, voice low and urgent, "this alliance might spark greater conflict. There are forces at play beyond our control. What if they decide our mission is a threat? The alien ambassador met his gaze defiantly, her iridescent skin shimmering in the ambient lights of the bridge. Without the Solari, we won't survive this war. The Atran coalition has no mercy. You must understand, these beings possess knowledge that could turn the tide in our favor. Jacob ran a hand through his tousled hair, battling the myriad possibilities swelling in his mind. Each scenario bore its own repercussions, some dire, others merely uncertain. He shifted his attention to the crew. The unease was palpable. A flurry of whispers erupted from the tactical station, where his first officer, Lieutenant Mara Knox, scrutinized the Solari ships flickering ominously on her screen. Captain, the Solari are known as fierce strategists, but their agenda is unpredictable. They've rejected contact with outsiders for centuries. What makes us believe they'll find us worthwhile allies? What? A sense of foreboding twisted in Jacob's gut as he contemplated her words. We have to trust Ilara, he replied, voice steady but laced with concern. If there's a chance they can help, we must take it. I understand the stakes, but every moment we hesitate, the coalition advances. They don't just threaten my people, they threaten peace across the galaxy. Jacob clenched his jaw. It's not that simple. The Solari rarely engage in outer conflicts. If we do this, if we bring them into this fight, it may only feed an already insatiable thirst for power. As he spoke, the sound of alarms blared, snapping everyone to action. Mara's fingers danced above her control panel, and her brow furrowed. We're being scanned. A patrol from the coalition is closing in. Our time to decide is now. Jacob's heart raced, the weight of the command crashing upon him. The faces of his crew tightened into expressions of urgency, awaiting his decision. He turned to Ilara, who met his intensity with unwavering resolve. Trust me, Captain, she urged, her luminous eyes glowing within the harsh lighting of the ship. Together we can present a united front. If the Solari see the strength of our alliance, they may choose to aid us instead of igniting further strife. A sigh escaped his lips. All right, he relented finally, galvanizing the courage he scarcely felt. Signal the Solari. We'll leverage our partnership in a way that demonstrates our unity. We must project strength. As they enacted their plan, Jacob's mind raced with what lay ahead. The lines between friend and foe blurred, and uncertainty twisted the plot of their lives like the spirals of cosmic dust. He gathered himself, scanning the bridge as commands reverberated through the air. The crew fell into organized chaos, a familiar dance of coordination amid impending dread. Moments later, as the Solari ships displayed their absurdly advanced armaments, the captain's thoughts flickered back to the insignificance of their current predicament against the grandeur of the cosmos. He steeled himself. Brace for impact. We'll make a stand. With the coalition's vessels bearing down, adrenaline surged. Awareness mingled with fear, forming a potent combination that sent Jacob's heart racing. Reaching for the controls, he commanded, "Activate shields. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, and ready weapons." The Providence shuddered as they altered course, narrowly escaping the strafe from a coalition warship. "They're tracking us!" Mara shouted, her tone threaded with urgency, as alarms rang incessantly in protest. "Ilara, now!" Jacob shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. "You need to reach out to the Solari, to convince them we're worth protecting." Ilara's fingers danced over a control panel, marked with ancient symbols, pulsing with a mysterious energy that seemed to mirror the turmoil within the ship. An eerie calm enveloped her as she closed her eyes, channeling every ounce of her power into the connection she was establishing. With her whispers barely audible beneath the staccato of warning alarms, the room fell into tense silence, all eyes fixed on Ilara. In that moment, she intertwined their fates, a darkness looming all around, and yet, within her spark, a sense of purpose glimmered. "Is it working?" Jacob asked, ever the pragmatist, tension coiling in his gut. "Trust her," Mara interjected. "We can't do this without her." "Whoa!" Suddenly, the bridge dimmed, lights flickering as energy surged through the ship. The Solari responded, a torrent of alien light enveloping the Providence. Their ships, majestic and grand, formed a protective barrier around them. "Yes, they're moving in!" Ilara exclaimed, eyes wide, with a blend of fear and exhilaration. Yet, the sentiment barely settled before a cruel laugh echoed through the comms, the voice of a coalition commander. Fools! You think you can hide behind their power? This will be your end! Jacob clenched his fists. Hold your positions, fire at will! As the asterisk Providence times engaged the enemy, vibrant streams of energy surged through space, a kaleidoscope of colors illuminating the dark vacuum. Battles erupted all around them, fierce and unforgiving. Each shot exchanged seemed to echo the heartbeats of those aboard, racing against time, against belief, against their own inertia. The chaos unfolded like a storm, powerful yet mesmerizing. Jacob maneuvered the ship with precision, every nerve ending aware of the weight they carried. As the opposing ships erupted in fiery collisions, the combined might of the asterisk Providence and the Solari pressed forward, relentless in their assault. Ilara, help channel their energies. We need to synchronize our fire, Jacob commanded, and she nodded, her voice melding with that of the Solari as she directed their flow seamlessly. Light and sound clashed, shaping an experience imbued with fear yet vibrant with hope. Amid the raging conflict, Jacob found himself glancing at Ilara, a moment frozen in time, executed by a universe that spun madly onward. Hope was a thin thread they taught themselves to follow, yet the profound bond forged between them lent strength to their resolve. But just as victory appeared within reach, something unexpected surged. An overwhelming sense of dread washed over Jacob. Mara, what's happening? Her fingers flew over the controls, but her expression darkened as she answered. There's a disruption. An unknown force is infiltrating the tactical systems. A transmission broke through. Your strength is admirable, but naivety is your weakness. Whispers yield power. We shall seize control. With a crackle, the connection died, leaving them amidst the frenzy of battle, but now surrounded by shadows, lurking in the cosmic sidelines. The urgency within Jacob surged as he caught Ilara's gaze, a mixture of concern and trust. Stay close, he shouted, thrusting the ship into a defensive position as the coalition drew closer, and ghosts of uncertainty danced in the periphery of his thoughts. It was now or never. With newfound determination, Jacob gathered his crew, ready to face whatever shadows lay ahead. Together, we fight for our people, for survival. No matter the outcome, we stand united. As laser beams zipped through the stars and ships groaned in combat, the asterisk Providence times pressed forward against the gathering threat. Hope reverberated around them, a fragile strength buoyed by resolve forged in companionship. As the dust settled in their minds, each knew they would confront not only the darkness of the enemy, but their own unraveling doubts. Whatever lay ahead, they had started a journey beyond themselves, a quest that hinted at the strength they all carried deep within. In the heart of it all, Jacob turned to Ilara again, bravely meeting that indomitable spark in her ember-like eyes. Whatever comes, we face it united. We'll find out if love can truly transcend the boundaries crafted by war. As they braced themselves for the next unfolding chapter, the weight of their decisions hung in the air, a promise of sacrifice, growth, and the birth of hope against the backdrop of chaos. They were a tapestry woven with strands of possibility and peril. Would love guide them through the darkness, or would it shatter under the weight of expectation? Only time would tell as they sailed deeper into the uncertain cosmos. If you like this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.